We are feeling the effects of this global recession, and we will continue to do so. But I want to remind you all today about what New Zealand has to be grateful for. Our banks are in stronger financial positions than those in many other countries. We have not witnessed the wholesale collapse of the productive sectors of our economy. We have come through hard times before, and we know how it's done. But we do face some real challenges. New Zealand has a small, open economy. We sell our goods and services on global markets. We raise significant amounts of finance overseas, and we cannot hide from what are extraordinary international events. The global downturn will have a flow-on effect for our country, no matter what the participants at the summit do. So our job today is not to promise the impossible. Unemployment will rise over the next year. We can all acknowledge that. But we can all play a part in lessening the blow. Each of us can do something that can save someone else's job, create a new job for someone else, or help someone find a new job as soon as possible. We can take steps to ensure that young people who cannot enter the workforce are able to upskill in the meantime. We can help those who lose their job get ready for the next one, so that if they do take a hit, they can come back fighting. We can make small sacrifices today that will keep our fellow Kiwis employed tomorrow and in the months ahead. Whether you are here today representing a big employer or a small employer, a bank or a union, a social organisation, an iwi, a council, a training organisation, or any other group of New Zealanders, what you do counts. It counts for Kiwi jobs, and those jobs count for real people. They matter for the families and the loved ones who depend on them. They matter for the small and large businesses that rely on people having money in their pockets. And they matter for the growth prospects of our country as a whole. What we achieve today can make a difference to the security and opportunities available to New Zealanders both now and in the years ahead. I know most of you have already invested hours coming up with contributions to the summit. You've put your heads together with your colleagues, listened to the people in your staff rooms, done the research, done the numbers, and committed pen to paper. Many have been working behind the scenes with workstream chairs and officials. Some of you have been cooperating with chief executives you might normally view as the competition. Others have put aside your political affiliations, and many of you have been working with those you normally see at the other end of the negotiation table. You are here because you are willing to be part of the solution to the challenges New Zealand is facing. I am here as Prime Minister, and we are here as a government because we know we don't have all the answers. We want your ideas about what could make a real difference. That's why today is so important, because we're all here in a pursuit of a shared goal. We know that if we work together, New Zealanders will reap the rewards. Our task today is to come up with practical, achievable steps we can take to save and create as many jobs as possible. Those steps fall into three main categories. The first are policy initiatives that will be needed to fund that will need to be funded through the government books. I am open to policy proposals of this sort. But let me be clear, there are limitations to what the government can responsibly fund. The country's books are in the red. Debt is forecast to rise dramatically over the next few years. We have to get on top of that debt. If we don't, our children and our grandchildren will pay with reduced living standards. So proposals with a price tag for the government must pass a high hurdle. We have to be sure they can be justified in light of the borrowing needed to finance them. And we have to be sure that they will not undermine New Zealand's long-term economic prospects. The second set of ideas is around the changes the government can make to laws and regulations, changes that will make it easier for businesses to set up and expand or take on more staff. I am keen to remove red tape, lower barriers and generally give some backing to the entrepreneurs and employers who, with a little bit of consideration from the government, could do more to keep staff and create new jobs. What can we do to unlock new investment? What can we do to give you some breathing space? What can we do to make it easier to take on a new worker or a new apprentice? Tell us and we will act. The third set will be changes that don't require government action. They will be ideas employers can act on alone or that they can act on together with their staff and wider communities. Today is an opportunity to gauge support for new initiatives, to forge compromises with each other or to band together to make your ideas a reality. I can't promise you that all the proposals generated will make the cut. It would be irresponsible of me to do so. But what I can promise you is that I don't come here with any ideological blinkers. I have my eyes and ears open. I fully expect the government to take prompt action in response to some of your proposals. Some might require the passage of legislation or the release of new funds in the government's May budget. Some will need to be looked at more closely and may require more work and refinement before the government can act. Some may not be viable now but could warrant further consideration if economic conditions worsen. What I am absolutely committed to is action and results. This summit is the springboard for the next phase in the government's rolling wall of jobs and growth initiatives. I stand by my record and I will continue to stand by it. In our first 100 days of office, my government took several steps to ease the sharpest impacts of the recession, to promote jobs and to prepare our economy for future growth. We introduced a restart package to lessen the financial shock of unexpected redundancy. We passed legislation to introduce personal tax reductions on 1 April. We introduced a major bill to reform the Resource Management Act and to remove some of the barriers to new development and to reduce costs and compliance for Kiwi businesses and families. We announced a package of tax changes to lighten the load on small and medium businesses, to ease cash flow for all businesses and reduce compliance costs. We fast-tracked more than $500 million of government infrastructure projects, starting new schools, the Kopu Bridge and new state houses. The government acted on all of these policies within our first 100 days in office. We understand how important these actions are to building confidence in the economy and what a difference urgency can make. So you can be sure that this summit will lead to real results. But in the end, today is not about the government. It's not about what I have to say, it's about you, the participants in this summit and the millions of New Zealanders you represent. I want to thank Mark Weldon for chairing the summit, for his drive, for his imagination and all the work he has done to make this Job Summit such a success.